Hey stars, it's me, SharrDaStar, and I want to do a different type of video since it's Valentine's Day week, and we are away on a family vacation. As you see, this is not a green screen, okay? So we want to, since it's Valentine's Day, I want to introduce you to some people, and I want you to get to know me a little better and get more into my space and my private space. This is my husband, L.
Voice behind the man, SharrDaStar, one behind the screen, one you hear talking, laughing. I'm the man behind this man, SharrDaStar.
This is my supporter. And I want to also, because it's a special taping, and we are on a family vacation, I want to let you know that my sister is doing this interview. So my sister's behind the camera, so now you'll know who you're hearing, okay?
So hello everyone. I would like to begin by saying that it is an honor and privilege to be here interviewing this special couple. So with that said, let us begin. So SharrDaStar,
Yes.
How long have you both been together?
We've been together 16 years this year.
And L,
Yes.
have there been any gaps in those 16 years that you've been together?
Not one.
That's wonderful.
Not one.
So the next question is, when and how did you both meet? And either one of you can answer this question, so who would like to begin?
I'll let him answer.
Well, that's a funny story within itself, and actually, it may help some of you guys out here listening to me. We actually met on a dating site. And I hear often that people say you don't meet love or it never leads to that.
No.
It did. And it did immediately. So for you guys that are going that route, you can still have faith. It works. It really exists. You can do it. We did it.
We're
And
a
we are
living
doing
testament
it.
to it.
Absolutely.
So with that said, would you say that this was love at first sight?
Absolutely. For me,
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You want to kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
I don't know. It's just like the funny thing is, let me tell you this really quick. We had met on the site, but we've never met face to face. We talked for about a month before we actually decided to meet face to face. And come to find out, we only lived like 10 minutes apart. And it was one particular Friday. I came home from work, and of course, got on the dating site to see who had left me messages. But he happened to be on at the same time I was on, and he stated to me that he was going to go. I think he was going to Philadelphia with some friends to go party, and we decided that night to get together and meet before he went on his trip with his friends. And need I say, they never went on a trip. That wound up being our first date with his two friends that he was going to the club with. We all wound up going to Bonefish Grill for dinner, and we wound up going to the city to a club. That was our first date.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
that's wonderful. So, Elle,
Yes.
what are the things that you both have most in common?
Well, there's many. Our upbringing, we have that in common. Like, he's a PK kid. My mom, before she passed, she became a minister. I'm a PK kid. So our religious upbringing is what really secured everything. You know what I mean? Because we had that same belief. You know what I mean? So that was really, really important for he and I. Mm-hmm. So that of all things, that was like the glue.
Can I add to that?
Absolutely.
And actually, us coming from the same type of background actually strengthened our relationship from the beginning, because we understood each other from the gate. Like, there was no chances of me not understanding something. It was clear. We had the same beliefs, we had the same upbringing, we both looked this way. And seriously speaking though, when I don't want to get too biblical, but when the Bible says evenly yoked, they were talking about us. We're very evenly yoked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Very nice. So my next question was going to be, what do you like most about your relationship? But it kind of sounded like you answered that.
Okay.
Unless there's something, you'd like to add.
Well, on my part, it's. I have never been in a relationship where we rarely disagree, and even when we do disagree, we know how to handle one another. Meaning, sometimes I think that couples don't know how to handle one another, and that will happen in the learning process when you get to know. But 16 years in, I can pretty much tell you what he's thinking, and vice versa. So yeah.
He can tell you what I like, what I don't like, what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do, what I'm going to agree with, what I'm not going to agree with. He could probably, I know he can complete my sentences for sure. Mm-hmm. So that says a lot.
Absolutely. So, not to steer off course here, but because everything sounds so positive.
Okay.
What happens in the strong disagreements? Like, what I mean? Have there ever been instances where either one of you may have thought that this might not work out, or this might not be the right relationship for me?
Can I answer that first?
Take it.
Well, to be honest with you, every day ain't sunny. So I'm not sitting here trying to feed you a fairy tale. In 16 years, we've had times, but I don't remember any time where we actually called it quits or even said, this is over and this is not going to work. Sure, we've been angry, but one of our things is not to go to bed angry. That's very important, because what you do is you bring that energy and that vibe into your next day. When you can end it that night, and mind you, ending it doesn't mean that you have to agree, but you can agree to disagree and live on. What do you think?
My thing is, no relationship is perfect. If anyone ever leads you to believe their relationship is perfect, they're a lie. I told you so. No relationship is perfect, and if you ever think that you're going to have one where you don't have disagreements and arguments, it doesn't exist. Whether it's a friendship, whether it's a sistership, whether it's a brotherhood, you're going to have disagreements. But again, it depends on how you handle those situations, and he and I have come to the understanding to handle things, not to go to bed angry.
You see how we answered each other? You see how that's what happens. When you're evenly yoked, sometimes we stumble, sometimes like any human being, we don't know what to say, we don't always have the right things to say, but as long as the person knows your intentions, and as I say on this channel, every day, every time I meet with you guys, I say be intentional. That's intentional. Be intentional on how you treat your partner. Be intentional on how you speak to your partner. Those things are very important.
Very important, definitely. Yeah. Goes a long way.
Yeah. So does that go into possibly, what is your golden rule? What is your relationship golden rule?
Not to go to bed angry.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Resolve it before going to bed.
But how do you resolve it? How do you speak to each other? How do you really resolve conflict? In those instances.
That's good. That's a good one. Okay, well, the point is we don't always agree.
Right.
We don't always see eye to eye. But again, you can agree
to disagree.
I think that you can't get anything through to your partner when you're angry. Point blank, period. People try to argue and get it through, but to be honest with you, you cannot. My thing is, if you're having a disagreement, agree to disagree, go to your corners, whatever that may be, and revisit it. Revisit it. But before you go to bed that night, revisit it.
But retreating is a golden rule. It will save your relationship. Before you say anything, retreat. Whether that's leaving the home, whether that's going to another floor, or whether that's just get away. Retreat.
Can I add to this?
Absolutely.
The point is also, sometimes we don't agree. And what I had to understand in myself, I'm a very outgoing person. People that know me know I like to laugh and joke. I always got something smart to say, period. Be nice. So my thing is, he's not that person. He likes to retreat and go inside of himself, where he doesn't speak. Where I want to When something happens, I immediately want to attack it and clear it up. And
Me,
he's not
I
that
gotta
person.
process.
Yeah, and it took me a
I have
long.
to think
It took
about
me 10
it.
years.
I have to process it. I have to digest it.
It took me
You
10
understand what I'm
years to
saying?
learn that,
And I have
guys.
to learn how to approach it before. I have to think about everything beforehand, if that makes any sense.
Because I started to, I used to push him. I want to talk about it now. And when all you're doing is pushing your partner further and further away,
Yep.
and you're causing more issues and more problems because at that point they still feel you don't understand them. And nothing's worse than a partner feeling they're not understood. or heard.
Misunderstood. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like you have a really good handle on things. So I'm going to turn it up a little bit.
Okay.
Have there ever been any instances where family or friends have interfered in your relationship? And how have you managed that interference?
Well, what I would say is we've only had this instance once, and there was a friend that was a mutual friend
That will remain
of us
nameless.
that will remain nameless, but they were a mutual friend. They knew me before I knew him, and vice versa. And it was a little strife because we knew the person in different ways. So we decided that it wasn't good for our relationship, so we decided to let it go and cut it.
Kept that individual.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to do what's best for your relationship. See, sometimes we go to the point where we try to measure our relationship to other people's relationships. What works for them may not work for you, and vice versa. You have to do what's good for your relationship.
What works for you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. So, just moving forward a little bit, since you are, obviously a gay couple, has there ever been an instance or a conversation or discussion surrounding adoption?
We
How would
did.
you answer that?
We did. In our earlier years, when we first got together, we were actually discussing adopting. But life began to life. Things began to happen. One thing led to another, and we never actually really got around to it. But it's never too late.
Well, what I would add...
We
Go ahead,
love
sorry.
kids. We love kids. There's always a
Yeah, we
kid
do.
out there.
We
to
have
be
plenty of
adopted.
godkids.
We have plenty of godchildren that we take care of. So, yeah, we never really got around to it. And it's actually still, it's not off the table. It's still on the table. So,
No, it's not. The truth of the matter is, that's nice, but the truth is, when we first got together, for the first year or two, we talked about adoption and things that we were looking forward to. We even went as far as setting up parenting classes and adoption classes, because as a gay couple, first of all, it's almost impossible at that time to adopt. And when you did, you had to take classes, you had to have all these certifications, you had to be worthy to have a child in your house. And so we had went as far as setting them up, but then I think as time went on, we realized that we both really didn't need that to make us feel whole, to be really, really honest. And we don't do things for popularity. Just because some of our friends are doing it, we're not going to jump on the bandwagon. We're always going to do what's good for us. But yeah, children was always in the plan. But now that we're older and it's 16 years in, I think we're where we are when it comes to that.
Okay, very nice. And what was the defining moment in your relationship? And when did you realize that this was your forever person?
Yeah, I'll let you answer that.
not to go too far into detail, but something happened and I needed him in a big way. And I think we were only like 2 years?
Probably.
2 years into our relationship. I knew, but after the resolution of this situation came to fruition, I knew for sure he was the one. I didn't question it any longer. You know, you have those questions in the beginning, first 2 years, you question things as a human. You know what I mean? Yeah, gotta be strong, you know what I mean? Gotta be strong and
Well, you know, the weird thing is in the beginning, well, for me, for past relationships, I've always looked for a protector. And I realized in this relationship, I realized I didn't need to be protected. And if we did, we protected one another. And it's the other relationships, I was looking for someone to protect me, regardless if I could protect them or not. But this relationship, it mattered, and I realized I really didn't need him for protection. I just needed him. And however that was, I needed him and I wanted him and I got him.
See?
What makes you feel most loved in your relationship? And I'll start with you, Elle.
His acts of service. I love his acts of service. He knows what I like. He knows when I like it, and he knows when to utilize those things that make me happy. So, acts of service for me.
Well, why don't you give us an example of something that he does that really makes you feel loved?
I can tell you.
We're not talking about that.
All right.
We'll get to Shaw after dark. A little bit.
So, for example, okay, I had a bad day at work. Day didn't go so well. He knows that, I work from home, and he's communicating with me throughout the day. He'll go out his way, go get my favorite meal. It may not even be cooked, maybe just from a favorite restaurant of mine. It may not even be close, it could be far. He will make it his business to go and get my favorite, just to make my day special. That's just an example. So that's an act of service for me that is gratifying for me.
Well, I'm happy when he's happy. And that doesn't mean that my happiness isn't important, but I think that some of us, we are actually genuinely happy when our partner is happy. It may not make sense to others, but when they're happy, I'm happy for whatever reason. Because I know that day is not going to be a hard day for me. I know that even, like he said, even if he's having a bad day, and if I speak to him 2 or 3 times during the course of the day, and every conversation, the day seems to be getting worse, I know it's time for me to step in and do my magic, whatever that is. And the last thing he needs to do is, after work, have to worry about what he's going to eat. Or if some chores was done. If I know he's having a bad day, you have to learn to step in and not be selfish, be selfless. That's important.
That's a beautiful thing.
So what okay, I want to answer that question even more. What was the question again? Repeat it for me. No, seriously.
I believe it was what makes you feel most loved in your relationship, and then we kind of went into acts of service,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And things of that nature. And I think we're also in the realm of love languages.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Well, my love language, his love language, because let's see how well partners know one another. He already told me he's acts of service, but I'm gifts. I like to give gifts, and I like to receive gifts. I like to see people smile. Nothing lightens up a room is when you give someone something they truly want or need, and they weren't expecting it. Nothing brightens up a room better than that, because that means that you are thoughtful. And I find that a lot of people are not thoughtful, meaning they think of their husband or their wife or their partner when they're in their presence. But when they're not constantly thinking, how can I better this? How can I make him feel better? How can I make him feel good? And I'm very thoughtful.
He is. I'm going to give you an example, if I may.
Mm-hmm, sure.
So, coming up on 5 years, I lost my mom in COVID. So, I'm not going to go too deep into that.
Well, 5 years ago.
Almost 5 years ago.
But that was we was already together 10 years.
Yeah. So, ever since then, when he knows that I'm in that mood, it's like he has something prepared to give me in remembrance of her. I'm going to make it short because I'm getting emotional. So this is one of the commodities he's given me, one of the gifts. I don't know if you can see it, but this is just the thoughtfulness behind what he's sharing with you. He's very thoughtful, and he knows my mother is my everything. She was my everything. So he's very thoughtful in that way. And
I'll take it from here. What I do is, like when his mom passed, right? Now, you have to remember, his mom passed at the beginning of the pandemic. And if you know anything about the pandemic that we all went through, but personally, you couldn't have a funeral, you couldn't have a service, you couldn't gather together as a family, you couldn't mourn, you were by yourself. And taking all of that into consideration, because I myself has lost my mom and my grandma, so I already knew what to expect and how he was going to feel. And what I did was, we had pictures, like we went on vacation and blew up pictures and put them in frames. And I made sure that they stayed off the wall. And what I did was I took his favorite pictures of his mom, one of them with us bowling together with her, and a picture of him and his mom together. And I blew them up and put them on the wall. Because that's what's important. And I thought that I put one in my bedroom. I know people say, you put your mother-in-law picture in your bedroom? Yeah, I did, because I wanted that to be one of the first faces, besides mine, that he see in the morning. That's important. It makes him, give him a reason to wake up. It gives him a reason to know, and just to see her face, because sometimes I often, I feel jealous of celebrities. And I say that because, for instance, like a singer, if you have your mother's Whitney Houston, right? And she passes away, you have videos, records. You can constantly hear her voice. You can see her, but most of us don't have that. And we don't start collecting those things on our parents until too late, So, yeah, I'm very thoughtful. I just kind of know what he needs, and I try to give it to him.
In many ways.
And every time he does it, when it comes to her, this is what happened.
Well, for instance, for the last few Christmases and birthdays, again, he lost his mom 5 years ago. So really, instead of me running out and buying him personal stuff, I buy him personal stuff. I blow up his mom's pictures. I buy him her favorite perfume, because that's what she always smelled like. That was Angel. So he loves Angel. So there's always going to be a bottle of Angel in our house, because his mother's an angel and she smelled like an angel. And that's what makes him feel good. And when he feels good, I feel good.
Just those thoughts, those little things.
Yeah. So it sounds like you both are truly speaking from the heart, and we can clearly see the emotional, attachment and the love and the connection that you both have. And this is genuine. This is absolutely genuine.
Absolutely.
And let's just lighten this up a little bit,
Okay.
because
Yes.
Okay.
let's laugh.
Please,
Let's smile
absolutely.
and laugh
Amen.
and lighten it up. And let's make this a little bit more fun. Let's breathe.
Okay.
What's in your drinks? What are you drinking?
Actually, I did some Patron and pineapple juice. I just wanted to keep it light, and something that we both enjoy. I know he loves pineapples, so I try to, whatever liquor I use, I try to put some pineapple juice in it. You see? You never know. Just little things mean more than big things, really. It does.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So just a little fun question. Friday night syrup or whipped cream?
Whipped cream for me. Syrup is too sticky, but
Whipped cream for me.
Okay.
Whipped cream. Yeah. Syrup is too messy.
Saturday turnips or Sunday sleep-ins?
a little bit of both, to be honest.
Yeah, it depends the weekend, like what we have.
Well, we have a really great group of friends and family, and so we try to brunch as much. Brunch is like a big deal with us.
Yeah.
So mainly it's Sundays, and we try to brunch with our friends and family. But Saturdays, we're really homebodies, and that's another thing that makes us evenly yoked. It's not like you have one that loves to go to the club and one like to stay home. We both like to stay home.
Saturdays is really self-maintenance days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Taking care of yourself and doing things around the house, and So Sundays is brunch day. We are men of certain age, so we try to enjoy our people as much as
And we in bed by 9 o'clock anyway. Let's be clear. Ain't no clubbing going on here. Honestly.
Club bed anyway. Is there a question, Leighton, that you might want to ask Shars? Is there something, that you've always thought about and wanted to ask?
how much you love me.
There's no measurements, really. There is none because some days I don't like you, but I always love you.
Same.
See,
same,
that's the truth.
same,
And people are
same.
scared, couples are scared to say that.
No, there's many days I don't like you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think
And
yesterday
and
you don't like me too much.
For a moment.
Yeah, okay,
For a moment. I'm just saying.
I think last Tuesday at 3, I couldn't stand me. I can't remember what happened, but it was last Tuesday at 3.
Honestly, you do have those moments when you love your spouse, you're in love with your spouse, but you don't necessarily like him or her.
And that's when you know the relationship is real, when you can bounce back like that.
Absolutely.
Because how many of us want to be around people we don't like at the moment? Not many of us. But when you love, you do. Because it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, SharrDaStar, please ask Lady.
I don't know if I actually have a question for him, but I want him to always know that no matter what, and I constantly tell him this, I have your back. Sometimes when you have people disappoint you in your life, it's easy to think that everyone's going to disappoint you. And you can show up once or twice, but I try to let him know that I'm always going to be there. No matter what. As long as God allows me to be there, I will be there. Point blank, period. And if he's wrong, I'm going to be there. And if he's right, I'm going to be there.
He
Period.
always tells me that.
Always.
He always tells me that. So.
Well, this has been a wonderful. This has been a wonderful time together.
Thank you.
You know, it
Thank you.
really
It really
has.
was.
It
Yeah.
really has. So, Elle,
Yes.
we're going to start wrapping up. Is
Okay.
there any last words you'd like to say to the audience? Or any advice you might want to give?
If you are, well, I'll say this. If you are serious about a relationship, know your partner. Take your time to get to know your partner. Don't rush. Talk to your partner. Have good communication. It is key.
Key.
It is key.
Key.
Listen to me when I tell you. It's key. So as long as you have communication, all else will fall in place.
See, I add to that because what's funny, and I think I want my listeners and my followers to know, wherever you're at 4 o'clock in the morning, 7 days a week, know that 1 or 2 or 3 of them days during that time, 4 o'clock in the morning, we're up in the dark laughing over something that we were driving and so I'm like, did we really see such and such? And mind you, the house is pitch black, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're sitting there having a full-fledged conversation. Mind you, have to get up for work in 2 or 3 hours, but we just have this conversation. That's when you know that, because see, most people, I see relationships, but people don't even like to speak. They don't like to speak to each other. And this young generation has lost communication. Everything is through texting and you know, social media. You have to sit down and talk. And another thing, don't let other people that know your partner tell you about your partner. Okay? You have to make your own decisions because what was good for them may not be good for you. Right. And how he reacts to their questions, he may not react to those questions from you the same. Right. So, you know, don't listen to other people. What's for you is for you. Point blank, period.
One last thing. What made us successful? Keep your family and your business. I mean, keep your family and your friends out of your business, especially your relationship.
I mean, take advice, but you have to always look at...
With a grain of salt. Take advice.
Yeah, I would say that, but you have to always think of the messenger. No matter what someone's telling you, look at who's telling you. That's what's important. No one that doesn't have experience in relationships can tell me about relationships. That's why we're doing this. We're 16 years strong. And people tell you all the time on a dating site, oh, it never works. It's all about this or it's all about that. I am a witness to let you know it's real. We have met. And you want to know something else that's funny? In 16 years, guess how many days we've slept apart? I would say about 8 in 16 years. And probably 5 of those is because I either had surgery or something like that. But really, 8 years. I mean, 8 days. 8 days that we didn't sleep apart. When we first met, real quick, I had just signed a new lease for an apartment in April. We met in July, which means I only spent 3 months in my apartment. Do you know I signed a year lease? So I had it until the following April. I slept in that apartment 1 day from July 3rd, the day we met.
He was always at my crib.
Well, I would go home, get dressed for
He was
work,
at my
come to
crib.
you,
He was
and let
at
me
my
tell you a
crib.
little secret because he ain't gonna tell you this. I would get home from work. Before I could walk through my front door, the phone was ringing. What we doing for dinner? What time you getting over here? So it ended up like that. But I didn't move in. Let's be clear. I know you said I said I slept there, but I still had an apartment. I still handled what I did. But it's my house now. How about that?
Wow.
But I want to thank you guys. You guys said that you wanted to learn more, and you wanted to. Who's the guy in the background, and who's that voice? Now you get to see who he is. He's the guy. Listen, the support that I received for this particular channel, I have times felt like I couldn't do it. I didn't want to do it. He has never ever told me I couldn't do it or didn't push me. He set up everything. We bought 4 or 5 cameras. He supported me from then until now and to further. So I just want to say, for those that think that love isn't there for you, hold on. What's meant for you is for you.
Sure.
Okay? Don't push it. Just don't go for any and everybody. What's for you is for you.
And if it's meant to be, it'll happen.
Absolutely.
It'll happen.
Yeah, and just because y'all have an argument or a bad day or a bad week, because sometimes you're not just upset for a day. You could be upset for a week, but you got to still be respectful. I'm mad at him. I'm still cooking him dinner. You know, I still got to go grocery shopping. I still got to pick up his clothes from the clean. What? Oh, still got.
Cut.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.